All right, everybody. So welcome back. So we do have in studio now. I can't. The gentleman is family now. You know that's the difficulty in welcome him back, welcoming him back. Right? How do you welcome a member of your family? Look, all your Inspector Ancil Forde. Mr. Forde, good morning. You know when you get up in your house in the morning, say, you see your mother, your wife, and whoever, you say, good morning, Mr. Forde.
Pleasant morning, Marlon. Pleasant morning, Trinidad and Tobago. And indeed, Marlon, it has become a sort of family relationship.
Yes? Yeah. I can't use all of this thing about ambassador and all kind of thing. Mr. Forde is always, but I call him Uncle Forde, boy. You never know. I don't know what to call him this morning, Brother Forde. Good morning, Mr. Forde. Thank you very much. It's always good to see and speak with you. What do you have for us this morning?
Okay, yes. Marlon, well, last week we dealt with the SOE.
Yes.
And I would have reported some statistics. Whilst the intention is not this morning to report statistics, I want to say that there is the conversation as it relates to stand your ground legislation, right? And where that is concerned, the Honorable Prime Minister, Mrs. Kamala Persad-Bissessar, SC, did speak much about, stand your ground legislation. And we can see now that there is consultation taking place in relation to it, right? And whilst persons may argue in terms of how contentious the issue may be, and we are not yet able to speak in relation to how the legislation, how it may be framed, how it may be couched, right? We need to understand that I think that the main reason would have been looking at the fact that persons within their home, right, would have been killed when persons would have invaded their homes, well, with respect to robbery and whatever the offenses that they intended to commit. And on that backdrop, the issue of defending oneself and defending one's home, property, would have come to light. And now we are at the point where we are looking at stand your ground legislation. Now, Marlon, if we have to look at what the current law provides as it relates to your ability or your right to defend yourself, your right to protect your property, all right? And ideally, we can identify that you have a constitutional right to protect yourself, to protect your property, all right? Now, where the offenses against the Persons Act, Chapter 1108, where it stands, if I'm to look at Section 7, and it deals with the issue of an excusable homicide, right? It contemplates that in the defense of yourself, all right? Or, let us say, in defense of someone else.
Within the home?
It is very limited, right?
Okay.
Where, at the point in time, your whole intention was nothing to be criminal. There was no intent. There was no desire, right? Circumstances presented itself, and you reacted to defend yourself, right? And it may also include persons within your home, to the aggression or the attack that you all are confronted with. That when the circumstances are looked at by an impartial body or an impartial person, it can readily be seen that your action was simply that of self-defense. Then, although it may have occasioned the death of someone, you may not necessarily be found or held liable under the circumstances. Now, there are other things that may be considered in terms of the force that was used, how reasonable the force was, right? And how do you measure it really, right? How would a reasonable man would have reacted to a situation like that? Now, if it is, Marlon, that in such a case, the force that was used would have been proportionate to the threat, or would have been what was required to stop the threat. Right? As opposed to where the threat no longer exists. The threat has been subdued. Right? And then you continue now to inflict more force or violence. Then the tables could turn from a point of self-defense to whether it is your action amounted to something criminal.
Yes.
Right?
Let me put it in this context,
Sure.
because we have seen over and over on social media where persons in communities would, let's say, would have held a suspected bandit.
Yes.
And they were successful in holding the individual, tying up the individual, but then you would see the persons who would have held onto the individual, they would be beating him. They would be jumping on the person's head and doing a number of things to that individual. In the minds of those individuals, they feel that they are doing something that is good. So take situations like that, Mr. Forde, and put it within the home. And I'm sure that people are still going to say, well, it's my castle, it's my home, and I do have the right as an individual to defend my home, my relatives, and to use, to us, that may be excessive force. To them, it is not excessive force.
Yes, Marlon. We oftentimes see videos of these sort of actions, and we term it as vigilante justice, right? And we advise persons against it. Now, in the context of your home, remember, the understanding is that you have a right to defend yourself, right? To protect your home, right? And if it is that the level of force that was used was what was required to stop the threat, you are quite, I want to say, within the law, you are protected, all right? As opposed to if it is you go on to use excessive force. And as I said before, if it is that the threat no longer exists, so the person has since been restrained, they have been tied up, all right? What you need to do now is to call the police. And why as I say call the police now? In the first instance, once there's the opportunity to call the police, you call the police. Where it is you have to act, and in so doing, you act in defense of yourself to protect your home, members of your family within your home. Then we are looking at what the reasonable man would have done and the level of force that was used.
So after you have stopped the threat, you have tied up the individual, don't hit him with a piece of iron, jump on his head, try to break his ribs, try to break his arm or break his leg. Don't do it. That's what you're saying.
Yes, Marlon, don't do it.
Just asking that for all you.
Don't do it. Because at that time, the threat no longer exists. Yes?
You're going to have to answer questions, you know, Mr. Forde.
Yes, you can find yourself having to justify your action, right? So that was just one aspect in terms of the provisions in law as it relates to you being able to protect yourself in the absence of stand your ground legislation, right? And that of your, let us say, your household.
But now, I like what you would have said. What would a reasonable person do?
Yes.
So I think that's a good guideline for people to follow. What would a reasonable person do? Because all situations are not the same. No. Circumstances are not the same. You may deal with a situation because of your temperament in a certain way. I may deal with it different. But at the end of the day, questions are going to be asked, whether you think you're right or wrong.
You are correct, Marlon. And it comes back to being judged by your peers, right? And this is where the reasonable thinking concept comes in, right? Would I have acted in a similar manner given the particular circumstances, all right? And if it is one considers what the court, or let us say a jury might consider, is from the point of what a reasonable man would have done under the circumstances, right?
Yes.
So that is, let us say, the leverage there. So, Marlon, we could identify further, and I'm still dealing with the Offences Against the Persons Act.
Yes.
And in this particular case, section 25(4). And it speaks directly to your ability to defend your home, right? So it's for the protection of your dwelling house. And whilst sections 25(1), 2, and 3 may speak to if you set a spring gun or a man trap or some other mechanism that causes grievous bodily harm or injury to another person, that you would be committing an offense. Section 25(4) makes provisions for you to protect your dwelling home, right? Whilst it is specific in terms of the time from sunset to sunrise, right? So between, let us say, from evening time to morning time. And if you set a man trap or some mechanical device to protect your home, and this is on the inside of your home, and someone breaks into your home and gets injured by that man trap that you would have set, right? The law protects you. Yeah. It does not make it unlawful for you to place or to set or to cause someone else to place or to set. And I will just read it for the full understanding of it, right? Section 25(4) of the Offences Against the Persons Act, 1108. Nothing in this section shall be deemed to make it unlawful to set or place, or cause to be set or placed, or to be continued to be set or placed, from sunset to sunrise, any spring gun, man trap, or other engine which is set or placed, or cause or continue to be set or placed in a dwelling house for the protection thereof. Right? So there are provisions that allows you to protect yourselves, your family members, and your property. Whilst it is limited to, I want to say, nighttime, evening into morning, right? If someone invades your home and they become a victim of that trap, there is a defense in law for you, right?
But you know what? The other side to that is that how do you deal in an environment where you have relatives, where you have young children, where you may have pets in your home? So after you set your trap, there's the risk that someone could be injured or killed by that. Does the law take that into account at all?
Well, whilst it is not spoken of in relation to that is a situation like that, there is the issue of misfortune.
Yeah.
All right? Where it is not the intention to cause harm or to kill someone, but by accident.
Yeah.
It may have happened, right? Then there is a defense in terms of it is excusable depending on the circumstances. So whilst it was not directly related to section 25(4), and as you ask the question, I can see it in that light, right? But obviously, one would consider the particular situation within
circumstances,
the home, right? And if it is that you embark upon such an exercise, you would ensure that your family members and those persons are quite aware.
Yeah.
And
Mr. Forde, we must go to a very short break. Please stay with us, Mr. Forde. Mr. Forde is not going anywhere. All right? We're coming back, everybody.
My man gone with green money. We still come out and mash up the party. Sweet, sweet TNT. Oh, how I love us this country. Sweet, sweet TNT. No place in this world I'd rather be. Sweet, sweet TNT. Oh, how I love up my country. Sweet, sweet TNT. All this sugar can't be good for me.
All right, everybody, so welcome back. So Inspector Ancil Forde remains with us this morning for a little while longer. Mr. Forde, thank you for staying with us. What else do you have for us this morning, sir?
Yes, Marlon. So, whilst it is we spoke on some of the provisions in law.
Yes.
For one, you to be able to defend yourself as well as to protect your home, all right? And mainly we looked at the Offences Against the Persons Act. Now, whilst it is those are measures that I want to say it is after the fact, right? Being proactive is one of the best advice that we give to persons where it comes to home invasion and protecting yourself. So there are the traditional means that we believe are still effective and simple measures that you can employ to strengthen your defense against a possible attack, right? So just to go back through some of these provisions. Now, I spoke previously about assessing your situation, identifying what makes me vulnerable, right? What makes my home a target, and how you go about to strengthen these vulnerabilities, right? So simple things, Marlon, as lighting. Some persons, they still have that conservative way in terms of we conserve electricity, right? So at night time, we take off all the lights. When you do something like that, you are creating the environment for persons to come, be able to hide in the dark and try to break in your home or commit some other offense. Ideally, particularly in the nighttime, one should ensure that around their house or their premises, that it is well lit, because it is a deterrent. Simply because persons don't want to be seen.
Yes.
Because they could be identified at a later time. Another traditional way is by having CCTV cameras, all right?
Yes.
Well positioned, strategically located, away from the access or easy access of persons, right? That it will allow for that recording and later on evidence to be produced, right? And it is a deterrent because persons who embark upon some criminal activity, they themselves must be looking to see if they have cameras, right?
Yes.
Because they don't want to be caught. So if there are cameras, that is resistance, right? Additionally, Marlon, whilst it is that you may have, I want to say, sufficient security arrangements within your home, there may be a property that is next door, that is overgrown with bush. Or, let us say, away from your house, but within your yard, you have big plants that are not well maintained, and allows ground or space for persons to hide, all right? We are saying that these are some of the things that you need to consider as well. So you have your plants in your yard well pruned and, you know, makes it less of a hiding place. If it is that there's a property adjacent to yours, right, that is overgrown, speak to the owners with respect to them being able to maintain it. And if sometimes you yourself have to engage in some little aspect of maintenance, just to ensure that you are safe.
Yes.
You know, we say we do these things. Now, some persons say that they don't like dogs. It's too much to maintain. They don't want to have to go and clean up after the dog. But a dog, Marlon, is such a good watch. It is a deterrent, depending on the type of dog, or sometimes just because of the noise that the dog makes, right? It discourages persons, right? So,
but don't get a lazy dog, because they are lazy dogs. Sometimes there are dogs sleeping whole days too. That dropsy. But go ahead, Mr. Forde. Mr. Forde was making a serious point, but go ahead.
Yeah, definitely, because man's best friend. Yeah. So, additionally, Marlon, security alarms. All right. These things, they cause persons to run, because they're not expecting that an alarm will be triggered.
Yes.
And because it attracts other persons, it alerts persons around that there's something wrong, it is a mechanism that you can employ, right? To sort of like strengthen your vulnerability and make you less of a target, all right? The next thing is in terms of, Marlon, within your home, all right, you need to look at your doors, your windows, all right? How secure are they? Sometimes persons tend to sleep with their windows open at night time. That is not the best practice, all right? Some persons may say, I am on the upstairs, and they feel that, okay, it is quite okay to leave my windows open. The person who wants to gain access to your home would also look at that as an opportunity, right?
Yes.
And you may well be aiding them by having something downstairs that they can use, whether it's a ladder or something else, to gain height, to access that same window, right? So you need to think, I want to say, holistically about your safety and your security, and what are the measures that you can put in place to reduce the chances of you becoming...
But I have about 2 minutes again.
Sure. Reduce the chances of you becoming a victim. So part of this is also in relation to how well you prepare members of your family to react to a situation or to respond to a situation. Because whilst we spoke of all of the things that you can do, we spoke about legislation that's already there, we spoke about the stand your ground legislation that is in the making, someone can still invade your home, right? Because it just takes that one opportunity. So by way of preparing your family, having that conversation with them in relation to, in the event of, you know, the what if, in the event of, this is how we should react, right? At the end of it, our main focus is to ensure that we all remain safe. Harm must not come to none of us, right? So you let them know that if we have to submit, surrender our valuables, let us not make it an issue. Let us surrender, let them go with it, right? Yeah. As opposed to if we react in a way to, let us say, we attack the persons, right? Yeah. And then it could turn out to be fatal for one of us. So what you can avoid in the first instance, you try, right? And there must be some discussion in relation to, if there is an opportunity for us to escape, what is the best route to take? So you have that discussion with your family members. So someone is at the front trying to enter your home, someone is at the back trying to enter your home, all right, the ability to call 999 forthwith, and then what direction do we go, right? Whether it is there's a safe room, or whether it is we can exit the house, yes, out in the open to some safety, all of these things we discuss, and we have a plan, all right? And last resort, Marlon, if it comes to a point where we have to defend ourselves, definitely we defend ourselves, right? We fight tooth or nail to protect our lives. But in the first instance, let's be prepared to surrender our valuables and preserve life. Yeah.
Mr. Forde, always good to see and speak with you. Enjoy the weekend. We have a holiday here.
Indeed, indeed.
The gentleman doesn't take any time off, you know. The gentleman always working, you know.
No rest for the police.
No rest for the police. I like that. So until we see each other again, Mr. Forde, take care.
All right, thank you very much.
All right, everybody, we are going to a very short break. I believe we're coming back with some of your calls, right? Yes, we are. Coming back, everybody.